Great morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us again on our podcast, Bringing Value. I'm joined again with Ricardo Acevedo, our superstar realtor and friend. How are you doing today, brother?
I'm doing excellent, man. Just excited to be here again and, share some good information.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'll tell you guys, I wish you could join us on all of our off-camera conversations because they're just so powerful. And I can't wait for this podcast to continue so we can just keep pouring some of the stuff that we keep talking about on the off-camera.
Absolutely.
So today, though, was something that we talked about last week. And it was off-camera. I want to bring it on camera this time.
Yeah.
And it was something that you said to me that resonated with me so well. And it was, you learn, you earn, then you give. And I want you to really expand on that because I think when you say just those three words, it doesn't really make sense.
Mm-hmm.
And I think most people think it's financial, but it's not.
Right.
Can you expand on that for me?
Well, it's basically one of those things that, I've experienced over the course of my growth. And I really embrace that. And it's basically you learn, you earn, and then you give, which basically gives you an opportunity to understand that's what life cycle is. Us as human beings, that's our responsibility. When life gives us an opportunity to have X growth in our lives, whether it's in business or whether it's on any other area of your life, our responsibility is basically to pour it back to other people. Mm-hmm. That's where true fulfillment comes. That's where you're truly doing your job as a human being. It's giving back what you have learned, what you understand, that you're going to be able to help somebody else understand the process and understand for their growth as well. Mm-hmm. What good does it does to keep something that and not share it with anybody else? You take it with you when you die, and you never were able to actually multiply that knowledge and give it back and pour it to other people. So that's our responsibility. Mm-hmm. Is we learn, we earn, and then we give back. That's our responsibility as human beings in society.
I really want to emphasize that is not necessarily financial, right? Because again,
correct.
People think, oh, you learn, you earn, like earn money. No. Right. I'm talking like particularly like self-development and just good advice.
Yes.
Right. Like how many times do we hear good advice on a daily basis?
Yeah.
And we don't continue that circle.
Right.
We don't perpetuate it further by giving it to someone else.
Correct.
And the reason why I say this is because I told you off camera, I had the conversation with my little brother the same day that you and I had our last conversation on our podcast. And I said, little bro, I'm telling you something. And like the energy in the room was off the roof. Mm-hmm. And I said, listen, little bro, I'm giving you all this. You're feeling it? He's like, yeah. I go, okay, now it's your job to go out there and give to somebody else. Right. And I want to really push, and you might want to tell us on camera too, is why is that so important? Like, why is that last step of giving so important?
Because that's really where true fulfillment comes from. When you give somebody, think about it. When you give a gift, when you give an advice, when you give something to somebody, and you see the difference you made on that somebody, think about it. That has no price. Mm-hmm. It has no price. So therefore, just how you gave to that person, like you said, and you gave to your brother, think about obviously how you changed his moment or his thoughts, or how you made him feel, how he can change and grow from that moment. That it's a personal fulfillment that now he has to go out and give it to somebody else, because that's how that itself continues to grow and expands out further than just you as a personal provider from the get-go.
I can tell you this too. While I was doing it, I was feeling good. Like I know it sounds selfish, but like it's almost like I was giving, yet I was feeling probably better than what he was feeling. Like right? Like
because that is again the true fulfillment as a human being, man, is when you give value to someone. It's what really pours. It's you did a video not long ago about that cup.
Yes.
Okay, so that's basically the same thing as that's example as you pour water into a cup, and there it gets to a point where that cup is full.
Yes.
And it's over pouring. And as you pour it out and you give to somebody else, you got to continue to pour in so that you can continue to pour out. And it's basically our responsibility to teach and educate the people that we are actually giving to them, that the same way you're giving to them, it is their responsibility to go and give to others. Because obviously at that point, then obviously the message stops there. Right. It's not growing.
There's that term, I'm sure you heard, it's called pay it forward.
Yes.
Right. And like, I feel like we can even expand on that deeper now. It's like paying it forward doesn't just mean, paying it forward in the sense. It means that you are going to get it back.
Yes.
Right. And I think going back to what you're talking about, the video, it's because what it is now is your cup can now put more water in.
Right.
It can now accept more water.
Correct.
And so by paying it forward, you're essentially letting the world know, hey guys, I'm available to accept more information now.
Absolutely.
pour,
Right.
and then with the law of attraction, guess what's going to happen? The world's going to start pouring into you, whether through someone like you or a family
or
member.
through your personal preparation as well. Remember, through the books that you read, through the connection that you have with God, with the preparation that you do that got you to become a valuable asset, whether it's a minimal advice or whether it's in something bigger. Obviously, you keep pouring into you by preparing and educating yourself so that you can continue to grow and you continue to fill your cup so that you can continue to be able to pour onto others. And then at that point, you got to teach those others that now it's their responsibility to go out and pour it into others.
Wow. I want to really push, because I told you off camera, is I feel like so many, especially younger millennials or anyone really, they're always saying, well, I'm not at a point to give yet. I got nothing to give. Or you know what? I won't give until I'm super financially successful.
Right.
I won't give until I've become a guru or enlightened or I've read 100 books.
Right.
I feel like that's flawed. Now I'm looking back, because I used to be that person.
Because a lot of the times we feel we haven't accomplished enough to give back yet. And I could blame myself for that earlier in my career. You know, I thought I wasn't worthy of sharing just yet, that I needed to accomplish at least a certain level of a place to be able to be in a position to give back. And I think I was very wrong, very wrong to do that. Like, for example, right here in my environment, the way I teach my agents, my new agents that I hired, I said, hey, listen, I'm pouring right over to you. I'm teaching you. But the minute you start learning and the new guys come up, it is your job now to teach them. And I tell them, I won't teach you unless you're willing to teach others. Because that's how we're really going to multiply this leadership thing that we're trying to do, this culture that we're creating. Because I can only speak to certain people, right? So the way we're really going to grow exponential is what I pour to you. That's my agreement with them. If I'm going to coach you, the only way I'm going to coach you is for you to be coachable, but you're willing to now go out and pour it to others, to the new agents that come in. You go out and pour it at home. You pour it to your family. You become obviously that leader that is now responsible to go out and pour to others what you've been poured into. And that's how this whole thing really grows. And that's what our true responsibility is.
Powerful. I like that. And as you were saying that, I was thinking like, well, you were saying, you know, your agents, your family, and so forth. I think so many people, and I blame social media culture and so forth, is that, well, if I don't have an audience of X amount of people, why should I even pour in the first place? Right. Well, if I don't have a stage of 1,000 people, I don't want to speak. Where it's like, well, listen, you just talked about your team. You know, it's not 10,000 people yet. It will be probably one day, but you're starting. Right. And by starting now, first of all, you're going to be, you know, you're getting it all back. Right. It's like I was saying earlier, as I was teaching my little bro, it was resonating deeper with me. Right. Because as you teach something, guess what? It resonates deeper with you. And you're starting in the sense of you're starting that chain reaction effect. Where I think I know so many younger people that have something good to give. Like you were saying earlier, like you had stuff, but you felt like you weren't, you know, in a position yet. But I think they're afraid to part of the fact that, you know what, I don't have a big audience. I want to impact 100 people at least. Well, hey, dude, impact 2 or 3 now. Start something, and guess what? It's going to resonate deeper with you in the long run anyway. Of course.
And it, you know what's going to do, and it's going to fuel you even more to continue to do it, because as you start seeing obviously the impact that it's making, that's the fuel that gives you more energy and empowerment to continue to do it better, so that you can keep touching, you know, families' lives and individuals' lives based on what you're able to pour in and empower those people. What's your stance on like financial giving and so forth? Like, is that something that you feel like younger millennials should start now? Is that something like, because you were saying, I think what we're really pushing here is start in some way or form. Not necessarily financially either. Whether you're pouring just your ear. Hey, here's my ear to listen. Come on in and just, you know, vent with me. Tell me what you're going through. What would your suggestion be to younger millennials that want to get started? Like, how would you get started? First, try it out, right?
Okay.
Understand how it feels. Understand going out and just listening to somebody, sharing a story or a situation that happened to you that taught you a lesson. Just by the most minimal situation that you can share, so that you understand obviously what the experience could be. And once you start figuring out and understanding the fulfillment behind it, then obviously it gives you an opportunity to really start understanding what truly means, and obviously how the process is, and the enjoyment behind it. And then that obviously will start leading you to seek obviously more of it along the way, along the process.
I really want to add, like, for me, my journey, I've done it in the past, right? Where I would give a little bit, and guess what? I felt good, but then I got I don't know what you would call it, but I guess I didn't build the discipline of doing it.
Understood.
Have you built like a discipline of giving continually? Like,
lately, more and more and more. Yes. And because the more I experience it, the more I want to do it.
right.
Because it's the more fulfillment of, giving out a good message to somebody, lifting a hand up to somebody that needs me at that moment, going out and sharing at my church, and helping out a family member, helping out a team member, helping out someone, obviously, that it's in need of something that I know I can provide something
Yes.
for them. And, again, once you start experiencing it and you feel the actual fulfillment behind the fact that you're able to do something for somebody and you saw the impact and the change it made in their lives, it's something that becomes, in a sense, addictive.
Yeah.
You want to continue to figure out a way to continue to pour and provide value and give back in whatever way you're giving, right? Whether it's monetarily to your church, whether it's, an advice to someone, a marriage, a husband that is having marital issues, that I can make an impact on a conversation that is going to lead to potentially them fixing their relationship.
Right.
Me being a person of value to another parent, another father of kids, or
through all the baseball parents that you work with.
Man, I talk to so many people.
Because you used to tell me, sorry to interrupt, but you used to tell me like that you used to parent your kids in a different way with the baseball than you do now.
Yes.
And then I think once you've told me that you've approached these baseball parents like, hey, I used to make the same mistakes that you might be making right now. Could you expand on that?
Well, it's basically was more of that harsh, right? Less love, less empowerment, and more of pushing and expecting them to succeed. And when they didn't succeed, you get mad. In sports is that way, right? You want your players to succeed, and if they don't, you get mad. And if you have children, you might yell and scream at them and expecting them to have success and do well. But in reality, and along the process, I realized that it wasn't the right way of doing things. It wasn't the right way that I felt. It was the right way that I was actually going to help my child, develop with, in a sense, with confidence on himself. Whether he failed on the field or not, there was still growth happening from that, versus being very hard and harsh on them, when they did fail, expecting them to win all the time and not have any failures along the way. Do you see what I'm saying? So I've learned it, a portion through obviously being just a parent, out on the fields and understanding, hey man, this is not the right way to do. You're not really building any confidence on the kid. All you're doing is you're diminishing his confidence because now he's scared of making a mistake. And when he does make a mistake, then obviously his mindset changes because now he's scared of the outcome of how mom and dad are going to feel out there on the stands and how they're going to react to their mistake, whether or obviously whether you treat it a different way, and now you're actually empowering them to understand, okay, it's okay to make a mistake. Hey, let's go back, let's do it again, and let's learn from our mistakes and empower them to understand that mistakes are going to happen. But we learn from those mistakes and we keep just being good teammates and pumping them up and teaching them that that's what we got to do. And even as teammates, your job is to go out and empower your teammates. Cheer them up. If they just had an error or they just did something they were not supposed to, things didn't go their way, empower them, give them hope, give them belief that, hey, there's going to be another shot. There's going to be another opportunity. Let's go back and let's do it again. Be that guy in the clubhouse that you bring that energy, where that energy in that clubhouse is, it's great vibe and it's good positive energy because you guys built and pump each other up to succeed in the field.
I like how you said that, and I want to expand on that because if we've been talking about giving, and if you think about it, giving good energy, like I think we've all been in a situation, especially like, I mean, you go to seminars, I go to seminars where there's a keynote speaker that brings energy.
Right.
But he's not really bringing, if you think about it. He's more of giving. What he's doing, he's giving energy.
Right.
And then that whole room just like, I tell you, like just lights up.
Of course.
And I like how you said that right now, where it's like at the clubhouse. You go in, someone brings in that high energy, maybe it's even you.
Right.
And in a sense, you are giving.
Right.
You're giving positive energy, you're giving love. And then guess what everyone else is going to feel like?
Yeah.
Like that high energy.
You raise everybody up, man. Just by the way you conduct yourself with that energy that you bring in, you change automatically a room's environment and energy just by the energy you bring, and you're giving that room and that environment.
You hit it on the dot, and that's what I was trying to go to. It's like you can give to change your environment,
Of course.
Right?
Yes.
Like,
very true.
Because we talked about how you're part of the environment. Like, let's be honest. Who wants to be in an environment where it's depressing, sad, low energy? Nobody. So it's like, okay, then let's try to reverse engineer this. How do I change the environment? Well, you can change the environment by removing yourself entirely and changing into a new environment.
Right.
Another option, it sounds like, is you bring the energy. You give the energy. You give positive energy, vibes, compliments, especially like let's say in baseball.
Right.
And see if that environment starts following you as the leader.
Right.
To then guess what? Everything just shifts out of nowhere.
Yeah, I've heard on a book it's you're the thermostat on that room. You basically control the temperature. Okay. You're the thermostat of that room. So that resonated a whole lot with me on a book that I read, and that's us. It's either we crank it down and it's cold, or basically you crank it up and it's warm and it's connecting and it's good energy. So it's a thermostat. Is you control the temperature of that room based on the energy you bring into that environment, into that room, into that conversation, into that meeting.
And as you're saying that, it's funny. I told you, like, for last week, ever since our last podcast, I've been on a really good energy.
Yeah.
And like, it's still a point now where I go to Chipotle, by the way, because like I'm, really working out. Like, so I'm eating a lot of food, I'm trying to get high carbs and high proteins. I've been going to Chipotle, guilty almost every other day.
Got it.
And
they
so,
must love you over there.
Yeah, they know me by now. But I'll tell you, like, I've been giving so much. Now, thinking about it, I'm not just, I was going to say like I'm positive, but I'm also, because I'm giving a lot of energy, right? So I go to the Chipotle line. Hey, how are you doing? Oh, great. You guys look great. How's your day today? Like, I'm giving a lot of positive energy.
Yeah.
Guess what I'm getting in return?
Yeah.
Positive energy.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
I think I'm also guilty. I think I'm getting like extra food because of it.
I'm sure you are. And again, man, I'm the same way. Unconsciously, I've always been that way since I was a kid. I've always been very outgoing and just very talkative to people. I wasn't as empowered, to be empowering other people as much as I am doing it now, because I understand it better and how important it is. But yeah, man, you walk into an environment and you could literally see if it was quiet and the energy was low. The minute you walk into a room, just your energy just goes in and you change the temperature of that room, and all of a sudden everybody is now in a different state of mind because you change that environment temperature based off of what you bring to that environment. So it is our responsibility to be that, right? So that we can come in and create and change the temperature and neutralize, areas that need to be neutralized. Even from a phone call. Sometimes I get phone calls that are not great phone calls, but I've learned how to listen and figured out a way how to neutralize
change the temperature of the conversation.
Customers calling in, they're upset either with me or one of my agents, and I need to neutralize. I have been able to change the energy even through a conversation, not even physically, but over the phone, be able to understand how can I neutralize, change the temperature, change the energy of this conversation, where I can now change the state of mind and the state of humor from that customer that might be upset. And how can I neutralize that conversation, that at the end of the day, when we hang up from that phone call, my energy transferred and I was able to change the state of mind of that customer, where I'm able to neutralize and be in a better position with a better conversation once we finish that conversation.
Wow. I like this podcast because I think we've expanded so much on the word give. Like, again, like so many people think it's just a direct term. Right. Here's a pen.
Or, it expands
so much further.
Yeah.
I'm learning, like, as we're talking right now, it's like, I'm telling you, it's like, it's a no-brainer at this point.
Yeah.
Why give? Well, giving, of course, to perpetuate the circle, keep that pouring into self-empowerment, but also because you're going to make your own life better by doing so. As we've explained, you don't just give, again, financially and all that, or even just advice. You're giving energy. You're giving the tone. You're giving everything, because who doesn't want a better, happier, easier conversation or life or Chipotle experience that I was mentioning?
Right.
Like, it's truly a no-brainer to me.
Yeah. I think it's a different way of looking at things, Seth. I think we were probably taught differently, majority of us. And we were not, obviously, in a sense, informed of, because maybe our parents never figure that out themselves, or maybe they did, depending what family you come from. But I think, again, once you start understanding it and you start experiencing it, that's when you realize, hey, this is what really fulfills me, right? This is what we're supposed to be as human beings. Is we're supposed to be givers. We got to give value. We got to give our time. We got to give our services. We got to give our knowledge. We got to give just our our presence there to help out on something that we can. And that's really, again, what fulfills truly the human spirit.
Yes.
Outside of just, obviously, when you're doing something, whether you're expecting something in return or not, you're giving it because you're giving it with true heart, not really expecting anything back in return. But life works so interestingly, man, that you realize later on you gave some and you got it tenfold back, because that's how really energy and the universe and God works, is when you're a giver, man, life is going to bless you back even more. And when you start living and experience it, man, you become so conscious and aware of it that, man, I give, but God blesses me with even more than I give. So that's when you realize, man, this is so amazing how this whole thing works. And that's when you start understanding, man, it's my job and my responsibility, because not we're changing people's lives along the way, but we're being blessed back by everything that we're doing.
Yes, absolutely. The world is almost like thanking you in a way.
Yes, it's basically the it's karma, right? And I'm not sure if I'm using the right word, but it's what you do, it's what you give back, right? You give something that is not good, life is gonna pay you back with something obviously negative. But you give something positive and you give yourself, then life is gonna reward you one way or another, man.
Wow, I love it. What a powerful podcast. We're about 22 minutes in, so it's perfect. Any last comments?
Not that I can think of right now.
I want to just summarize for the viewers, because my mind's, it's gonna take me some time to digest everything, to be honest. But we talked about if you're not financially able to give whatever you've been poured into, empowerment, good. And even if you don't have that, just start giving out to the world. Give out your energy to the world.
Think about just a smile, right?
Yes.
You walk in, somebody's sad.
Yes.
And you just give them a smile and a great good morning. You're not even aware that you just changed that person's state of mind, and their day is going to be so much more better just because you just walked in and gave them this beautiful smile, sincere smile. You just changed their day.
Yes.
From a moment they could possibly be thinking about a problem they have in life, and you just gave them a compliment or a smile, and you just changed their whole day.
And see what that's going to do for the environment you're in.
Now, look, think about that person. Walked into work or their environment. They were sad. They were unhappy.
Yes.
How are they going to treat others
in a great way again
when they approach him or her? Now, you come in, you help that person out, you give them a compliment, you give them a smile. Now you change the way they feel. Now they're feeling better. Now they're happy and satisfied and fulfilled with themselves. Now what they're going to do for others when they come in and they approach them, now their attention to others are going to be different. And now they're going to be in a better position to also do the same thing to others that somebody else just did to them, to change their morning, mood that they had, or their current situation, state of mind.
And now you're immersed in this positive environment where everyone is feeling good energy, and you're probably going to be the most productive.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
And, man, I again, sorry, one last thing. Like, I was thinking, like, so many friends I know talk about, well, my home's a bad environment, right? I don't have a good environment at home.
Right.
Now I'm thinking, like, well, why don't you try to come into your home one day with a positive smile, flowers for your mom, whatever, something. Start off that note really positive and see if it trickles around.
And it will. It'll take time, but it will. It's one of those things that it's take ownership first, right? A lot of times we blame everybody else. How about we take ownership and we do something ourselves to change the environment, right? It's easy to blame somebody else, but when we actually take ownership and we say, well, listen, I know the environment is this, but let me take responsibility. It is my job to figure out a way to change the environment. And you take ownership and then you start doing it. I guarantee you that it'll start changing. It's not going to happen immediately overnight, but I guarantee you that if you take ownership and you do something about it, you will have some sort of success along the way, as long as you change the environment based on the way you come into the environment, the way you approach the environment.
Wow.
Yeah.
Powerful. Again, I'm going to take some time to digest all of this, but incredible podcast. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely. And I hope you guys join us for the next episode. Have a good one.